Hey y'all, this is Allison hanging out in my space to craft, and I'm doing the day 7 sketch from Christy's Beautiful Life. It is a 2-page sketch you can see here with a strip across the middle, a bunch of photos. I think I have one more photo than it shows, one 4x6, and then my photos are 3x4. And then I have a few pieces of ephemera from swaps on Ginger's Corner, these letters, and the paper is all from Creative Memories, a Nancy O'Dell paper pack, including all these photo mats. So I've picked 2 pieces of paper that I'm going to use. I'm going to do the scallop out of the dark brown, and there's some green accents on one of these pages. So I'm going to start the process by making these 2 pages a little more similar, and I'm going to emboss and in gold embossing powder onto these papers. First, I want to get the layout and then sort of mark out where the papers will go so that I know where to extend the embossing. So I'm going to use this green paper for my strip in the middle. And because my pictures are 3x4, I'm going to do a 5-inch strip so that there's some space on either side of it, and I have room to mat the photos. So that's my approximate layout. I do change this up a bit once I get the photos all separated. I do that off screen. So what I'm going to show you in this video is some of each process, but not both pages essentially. So I'll take you through the various steps. I'm going to separate these off screen. I just want to sort of get an idea. And now I need to figure out what I want to do for the scallops. So I'm looking at my Creative Memories border system. There is a little bit of a lacy scallop on there, but I just bought these scallops. In all honesty, it would have been easier if I had done just the regular scallops, but I wanted to use my new dies. Now these are not quite 12 inches, they're only 9 inches, so you have to play with it a little bit, and I did not do that process perfectly, I can tell you that. So I'm going to go off and cut those. And I end up cutting them a little bit short because I wasn't planning ahead. But it's fine. Everything works out great. So I'm back. Here I've cut the scallops. You can see they're just a 1/4 of an inch short. But I'm going to just cut it underneath where that journal box is, for example, and then under the photos. So it works out fine. But do as I say, not as I do, and cut yours a full 12 inches. So now I'm going to start the process of embossing. And let me tell you, I made a big old powdery mess on my desk. I probably really should have taken up this silicone mat because powder does not like to get removed from it. So I'm going to have to now peel the whole thing up and wash it, I think, to get the powder off it. So I found these 2 sort of swirly rubber stamps, and I'm just sprinkling them around. And every time I did this, y'all, my air conditioner would click on and I had powder blowing everywhere. It was ridiculous. So I'm just sprinkling them around where I've stamped. And then I'm going to go off and heat set them. I think I end up doing the whole side first. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to keep going. And I only need them the top and bottom of the page, but I want them coming out from under the other papers, going off the page in some cases and things like that. And here you can see it blow. My air conditioner was on, and it's so strong because it's just in essentially my craft room has its own air conditioner, so it's pretty strong. It gets kind of crazy. So I don't care if this is perfect because I'm going to add some gold spritz as well to this page. So if there's a little bit of gold here and there, I do take a brush and clean it up a bit. And I think I'm going to add one more. And I could not get these stamps to stick onto my acrylic pad, so that was kind of interesting. I will confess that if I licked it and stuck it on there, it would stick, but all right, so I've gone off, I've heat embossed it. You can see it rippled a little bit from the heat, but I don't care. It's supposed to look old. It's Roam. And now I'm using my Distress Spritz in fossilized amber, which is essentially a gold spritz, and just adding some sprinkles on that. Just trying to make these two sheets look a little more cohesive with each other. And now I need to let those dry. I've got one more step that I want to do on both these sheets and one of the mats. I want to add gold edges. So I'm abandoning my coffee filter and I'm just scraping this on. Now I get a little carried away with some of it, and so I just use the brush to clean it up. I want some gold edging on this, like it's gilded a little bit, because you know, there's a lot of gilding in the Vatican, so I figured why not? And I've done both sheets of that as well. I really like the effect of this. I think I did it on a much smaller scale for a card once, and I thought, you know, that might look really cool and really just elevate this page. And then I'm pulling out some of those mats to use to mat all the photos. And I've got this dark brown one, and I'm going to add gold to this as well, because this is sort of the featured photo with my daughter and her friends. So this is the last one that I will do the gold. And it got a little thick on there, so I'm trying to thin that out a bit. And now I have to wipe everything down. Everything's covered in powder by this point. So I think that gold looks really nice. It just really adds, I think, a little bit of a neat touch, a little antiqued touch. And I'm doing this, I did lift this a bit. It is not set center on the page. It's set at 3 inches and 4 inches. So I have 4 inches along the bottom and 3 inches. Is that right? Yeah, because it's a 5-inch strip. So I've just shifted it up a bit. And that's because I have the journal box to go at the bottom, and I just wanted it, I didn't want it quite so crowded. I didn't want it overlapping the photos too much there to fit that journal box on there. So that's where I had to split it. So if you have something, this is a great use if you have 6x6 paper. You know, you can just split it and hide the separation under a photo. And nobody will know that it's not a 12-inch piece of paper or a 12-inch strip. So I am inking. If they're not gilded, if you will, then I'm inking them. And now I'm just resorting the photos. I want the one of my daughter as the first one, and then her and her friends as the last photo on the page. So I think that will work. Sorry about my dog. It's evening as I'm recording this, so who knows what's going on. I have one dog who constantly chases lizards and the other one who just barks at any car driving by, any person walking by. So I have followed the sketch pretty closely here, actually. And I realize here I need to trim it a bit. And that's the actual ticket for the Vatican Museum that my daughter had, so thought that was pretty cool. A real piece of ephemera. I will add some fake ephemera as well to this, just because I felt like I didn't have a lot on there. But when you have a lot of photos, you don't necessarily need a ton of ephemera. And I have that, you know, I added so much to the paper as well. So just going through the papers, trying to use what I think will work. I'm going to overlap these two on a single mat, just to sort of treat them as a single photo. And then I'll end up switching these two photos because this one has statues as well. So I'm putting all the statues together and then the blue sky at the top. And now it's time for the title. So I was thinking Roam in Rome, and instead I'm going to change it up and do Roman Rome. I also do ink these alphas a little bit just to help them have a little more contrast. And so I'm using a couple of different swaps here. That title, Rome, is a swap from the same swap as the journal box on the bottom. And there's another piece of paper that came in that same swap. That was that's travel related. It looks a little bit like a scroll. Here it is. And I'm going to pull that little tag off the middle because it's a little too modern for what I'm looking for. And I did need to add a little more adhesive to those letters, but that's okay. And then I have these little gold labels from a sticker pack that I thought were cute, so I'm adding that to a few of the photos. And honestly, that's about it. I do go through my I don't show you the whole thing, but I went through and I pulled out some little tickets, some old bits of ephemera. That was one of my ephemera binders. And I just wanted to add a few more layers underneath the photo, just to give it a little more age, a little more interest. So there were a couple of little tiny postcards. I thought those might be cute in there. So I'm just tucking those in, and that's essentially creating just 3 little clusters, up by the title, down in the center left, and then top right. And now I'm going to add some enamel dots, and that's it. Super simple. I did not add more gold dots or more gold spritz because everything already had some gold spritz on it. So let's do some close-ups. So if you're interested in joining and playing along with Christy's Beautiful Life, 30 days of sketches, it's not too late. You can find her on Facebook, and there are 30 sketches to do. They'll be available even after the month of September, but it sure does make scrapbooking a lot easier when you have something to start you off with. So there you are, and let's just take one more look at the sketch. And again, this was the day 7 sketch. And I did pretty close to it. Thanks a lot, you guys, and come back for more.